Re-energize, right. It is now 6 o'clock in Hampton County, and I'll call this meeting to order. Moving down to item 2, invocation and pledge of allegiance. 2.1, invocation. Ask if Councilman Williams if he'll do the invocation, and ask if Councilwoman Welch if she'll do the pledge of allegiance.
Let us pray. Most heavenly, all-knowing, all-wise, we come before you at this moment giving you all the praises. Thanking you for all your many blessings that you bestowed upon us. For waking us up this morning, seeing a new day. Lord, we got a whole lot going on around us. But knowing that you are who you are, and you're going to do what you say you're going to do. And all power is in your hand. Continue to come in the midst of us as we make decisions on behalf of the citizens of this county. And continue to bless the ones that's going through right now, Lord. We have a whole lot of sickness. We have a whole lot of death. We just have a whole lot that's going on. But you know it all. And we will lean and depend on you to carry us through. And continue to bless us and keep us in our goings and our comings. All these blessings in Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. Moving down to item 3, approval of agenda 3.1, Hampton County Council, April 3rd, 2023, meeting agenda. What is the pleasure of council?
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve this agenda.
We need to defer.
Hold on.
I'm sorry.
We need to defer
Mr.
item.
Chair,
Oh, defer. Okay.
I move that we defer 6.3 and 6.7.
Okay. So we have a motion to defer item 6.3 and 6.7 to the next meeting. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to defer item 6.3 and 6.7 and approve the agenda with those changes. All in favor, let it be known by raising your right hand. All opposed, likewise, ayes have it. Moving down to item 4, public hearings. There are no public hearings scheduled. Item 5, public comments. One minute, ma'am. They're bringing the list up.
All right, Mr. Chairman, you have Myrtle Sumter. She's in the county and she is on the public comments to speak about the library board.
Ms. Myrtle? And Ms. Myrtle, before you start, and for everybody else who is on public comments, will you have 5 minutes? Okay. Yep.
Thank you.
I'm Merle Sumter. I'm chairman of the Hampton County Library Board. And I'm not familiar with the procedure, but I know since June of 2022, we've been with only 5 members, and our bylaw says that we should have 9 members. And I am coming to you asking you to approve. I have 4 young ladies that have applied. They have presented their applications, and if you need a copy, you want to need a copy?
No, ma'am.
Yes.
We won't be able to take any motion, any action on it. But you can provide it to the clerk, please. You can give it to the clerk, and she'll give it to us.
Okay, and I'm asking you all, the 5 members,
Right,
we have 1 person, we don't have.
right. I will say, that is on the forefront of council's mind and administration. We have across the board commissions and boards that are not, they don't have enough people to have a full quorum. So what we're going to do is resubmit for all. We want to put out another application process and get bids back in. Because like you said, that has been open. When was the bid open for that, or the application process? For a year, probably? Right, right. So,
Yeah.
right. Right. Yep. And so to answer your question, we're going to advertise again because we have a full new council, basically, and we want to make sure we do everything above board. Okay? So those 4 people, if you will, reach out to them and say, hey, all you got to do is just put it back in, and then we'll get it addressed. Yep. Okay. So we'll put out the advertisement again, and then we'll pull those 4.
They don't have to redo.
So they won't
anything.
have to do
We'll
anything.
Pull those 4 applications back out.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Man,
Next.
Your next is Quincy Jones, and he is here to speak about the airport.
Mr. Chairman, council, last we spoke, a couple weeks ago, we started a discussion about settling the lawsuit along with the gate issue at the airport, the fencing project. I didn't see it on the agenda here, but I'm under the assumption maybe 14.4, maybe 14.5 in executive session. If that's part of it, then I'll just wait to hear later tonight. Is that okay?
That for legal advice regarding a pending lawsuit, that is a pending lawsuit, so it could be a possibility. But I can't go into detail about what our executive session will be.
Okay, and then so maybe 14.5 has something to do with the gate at the airport?
Same answer.
Okay.
Yep. Thank you. Next.
Item number 6, approval of the minutes, because we
That's
have
it.
no more on the public
Great.
comments.
All right. Moving down to item 6, approval of minutes. 6.1, February 6th, 2023, Hampton County Council meeting minutes. What is the pleasure of council?
So move.
We have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the February 6th, 2023 council meeting minutes. All in favor, let it be known by raising your right hand. All opposed, likewise, ayes have it. Item 6.2, February 9th, 2023, Hampton County Council special meeting minutes. What is the pleasure of council for that?
So move.
We have a motion to approve,
Second.
and we have a second. Motion and a second to approve the February 9th, 2023 Hampton County special meeting minutes. All in favor, let it be known by raising your right hand. All opposed, likewise, ayes have it. Moving down to item 6.4, February 24th, 2023 Hampton County Council special meeting minutes. What is the pleasure of council for that?
So move.
We have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the February 24th, 2023 Hampton County special meeting minutes. All in favor, let it be known by raising your right hand. All opposed, likewise, ayes have it. Moving down to item 6.5, March 3rd, 2023 Hampton County Council special meeting minutes. What is the pleasure of council on that?
So move.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the March 3rd, 2023 Hampton County special meeting minutes. All in favor, let it be known by raising your right hand. All opposed, likewise, ayes have it. Moving down to item 6.6, March 10th, 2023 Hampton County Council special meeting minutes. What is the pleasure of council for that?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the March 10th, 2023 Hampton County Council special meeting minutes. All in favor, let it be known by raising your right hand. All opposed, likewise, ayes have it. Okay, moving down to item 7, presentations. 7.1, Hampton County Board of Voter Registration and Elections. 7.1.1, adequate space for the Hampton County Board of Voter Registration and Elections. And then 7.1.2, GIS system for the Hampton County Board of Registration, Voter Registration and Elections.
the chair and the councilman.
Good
My name is
evening.
Linda Gibbons. I'm chairman of the Hampton County Board Registration and Election. We come to you all today to ask for adequate space for the election headquarters. You know that election every year have changed, law have changed. We got early votings and we have 77 machines that we have to program, and the space is not enough. We need a lot of space because every year the states send down new things. We got the e-poll book that we also have to program. And I got some copies of the things that I can let y'all see and see how crowded it is in that conference room. That conference room is shut off, and we have 77 machines laid out on the table. It is hard for young ladies program, and you got to test. Each and one of you all have been at the election headquarters because you all elected officials, and y'all have seen what we go through. It's not an easy task. Looking on the outside and looking inside is different. So we ask y'all to please look at this and consider us some space.
Thank you.
And I think Mr. Rainey to come and talk about the GIS system for the election headquarters. And I want y'all just to pay attention to him because it's very important that we have this. The ladies at the desk, the office, when someone come in to register and give them an address and say they live at this address, and all they can do is pull up on their computer and let them know you're not in this area, you're in another area. So it wouldn't be no kind of discrepancy about it. So we asking y'all to put in y'all budget and look for a place for us for a headquarters for the election, even though we don't have an election every year, but we have a serious election coming up next year. So that's all I have to
I
present.
got a question. You have adequate space after you get the system set up.
No,
Once you send the machines out, is the space that you have left?
we don't. We use the conference room.
Right.
And the space that we have to store our machines and stuff, we don't have enough space.
Okay. That answered my question.
We just don't have it.
And I make a statement on that. And Mr. Chair, this was going on even before you came in. Space was very limited. That was one thing I stated that's why we need to get back with the CPST where we can do something, find some money. I mean, they're jammed up, they're crumped up, and that's the only alternative that's gonna get that. If we don't have no other buildings to put them in, they gotta have space. I mean, different departments need some things, and I think as citizens of Hampton County, we just gonna have to bend over backwards and work with one another. I mean, a penny don't hurt nobody for space, so we need to look into that. Yeah,
Remember, we have to have these machines stored in climate control.
right,
Please.
right. Thank
And
you, thank
One
you.
more thing is when we have an election, the fire station at Early Branch Common Precinct is very hot, and these ladies have to sit there over 12 hours a day, and sometimes the power is not working. And we want y'all to consider that precinct, trying to do something to help accommodate them, because they are the one that working for us, that you all help get the election.
I understand.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Clear.
Thanks.
G- Mr. Randy, are you coming up or?
Mr. Chair,
members of council. I had a conversation in my office last week with voter registration and Ms. Gibbons. They call my office often to verify address points and locations. They do not have the GIS system in their office. The GIS system would be a really good tool for them to have because their clerks could have in front of them on their screen the GIS layer, which has our address points and system in it. We could also go to the state and get them to provide us the different precinct and districts for voting. We can put those on those computers so that when a potential voter comes in to register, they can have it right in front of them. They can open up a single district so that they can see if this potential voter falls within a municipality, whether they're outside of the municipality. This will be very valuable and time-saving for them. I did talk with Miss Suzanne. She said that we did have some licenses available. We need to check into that a little bit more to see if we do already have the licenses in the county. If we do, then it would just be a matter of finding out what the cost would be for them. We had talked about them possibly having one editor license and 2 viewers for the text, which would allow them to change their districts as the state changes them, to modify them, but it would be a very good tool. They are telling me that they're working off of paper maps. I'm not sure how they work off paper maps this day and time. You know, when getting people registered to vote and trying to get people to come vote, I think it all starts with making sure that they're in the right district and they vote in the right district. Having this system would help them great.
Mr. Chair, I would recommend that we ask Mr. Cruz to assist them in bringing us a proposal on what it costs to set that up.
Okay? Thank y'all.
Thank you. Moving down to item 7.2, the Honorable Anthony Russell, Hampton County Sheriff, regarding update.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
To the chair, councilwoman, councilman, to the clerk of council, the MRS, MRB, if I have that wrong, firm. I would like to thank you all for giving me an opportunity to be before you to address my first quarter report of Hampton County Sheriff's Office. And I plan to do this every quarter, not only for you all, but for the citizens as well. And I know as I go along this, it's not always going to be good with the numbers that you see, but as a sheriff of Hampton County, I am doing my best with what I have to reduce the crime that we have in Hampton County. On the first page here, if you look at the numbers here, y'all have to excuse me. I promise you, I never wore glasses until I can handle
Fine
it.
print.
It is very hard to do. I remember, I think like the second weekend off, I got really nervous because I didn't know what happened. And I could not see the budget worksheet that I had. And my chief deputy went to Dollar General and bought me a pair of glasses. So they worked.
Well, get ready to shave your head too then. You're gonna lose your hair.
Yes, sir. So this is the crime data trend for 2019 through 2022 on this first page. And the one thing that really concerns me, that the robberies are down, the assaults went up, burglaries are pretty much equal across the board. The larceny go up and down. Motor vehicle theft, it fluctuates up and down. If you look here to the drug portion on this slide, the reason why those numbers are really, really low, because we really didn't have anyone working drugs in Lincoln County. And I'm afraid when we do start, and I am trying my best to hire people to work drugs in Lincoln County, that number right there is probably going to
Skyrocket.
yeah, because you all know what we're facing in Hampton County. We see it every day, and it's just not in Hampton County, it's across the state of South Carolina. With our shootings, this is another alarming thing. If you look at the last number with shooting, look at those numbers. And when I say shooting, these are drive-by shootings. These are where citizens in Hampton County, these little criminals, they go out in the community and they ride past people's house. They care less whether you got grandmother, grandfather in the house, they're gonna shoot your house up. They're gonna try to do their best to take the person out who they went there for. And we definitely gotta address that. There are some things that I have in place that I cannot discuss, you know, on record right now, but I promise you all, as a sheriff of Hampton County, I am doing everything that I possibly can. I have been working with SLED and talking all the time with Chief Hill. They have a new lab up there. That was one of the first things I toured. And there are mechanisms in place that we can help to address some of the issues with these shootings. But I also want you all to keep in mind that I am 14 people short. Okay, and that's not by choice. Understanding when I say this, when I came into the sheriff's office, I didn't fire not one day. Check the district, South Carolina, probably Hampton County. I am probably the first one. I give everyone an opportunity to work for me because I wanted to change the direction the office was going in. I understand these concerns the citizens have, and I am doing my best to hire people, to get deputies trained, so we can bring these numbers down. Because the numbers are constantly going up. I don't get to pick and choose what you see here. These numbers are input in our RMS system, and this data comes from SLED, and of course, with the crime index of the state of South Carolina.
These numbers are incidents or arrests?
No, these are actual incidents.
That's actual incident?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Now, we have been making arrests. If you follow my Facebook page, I promise you, we don't go home until we find some answers and we put them in jail. And I thank the jail over here because they do a wonderful job of keeping them.
You don't get that compliment every day.
Now, if you go to the second page, the crime data trend for January and March. Just like I said with the drugs, though that number is going to be low. Unfortunately, I don't have anyone working drugs in Hampton County as of now. The investigators that I do have, they are bombarded by working these property crimes with these shootings, and I have been, interviewing people to try to get people to come to Hampton County so we can do something with these drugs. So once again, that number is really low, but when we start working drugs, you can look for that number to go up. And just for the month of January and February, which is not on the slide, and I called SLED today to get those numbers, we have already had 7 drive-by shootings in 2 months. May not seem like it's a lot to you all, but let me tell you one thing. As Sheriff of Hampton County, that is a lot. And we definitely got to do something, but once again, we're 14 officers short. If you look at the citation data for January and March of 2023, and this information is coming out of my RMS system at the office. For the month of January, we wrote 103 tickets for people speeding 10 miles an hour. Okay? 66 from 10 miles an hour to 25 miles an hour. 2 for 25 miles an hour greater. Other moving offenses, that's gonna be your child restraint, seatbelt, and it could be drug paraphernalia and stuff like that. And your non-moving violations, a lot of that is gonna be your drug offenses, where we catch people with marijuana now. And I'm telling you, that number is going up tremendously. I just don't understand why some people just ride down the road and just want to smoke marijuana, have it in the car, and go through road check. And let me tell you one thing, when they come through our safety checkpoint, they do not care for an officer safety at all. They will drive through that safety checkpoint at 60 miles an hour. I've seen it done. We had a car here when I first took office, went through the intersection of Hopewell Road and 601 at 103 miles an hour, trying to get away because they had broken in the car. This is the mentality that the people have here, these criminals. We've got to do something. We got to do something fast. I also want to give an update on the current drug policy that we have in place with the fentanyl that's prevalent in our community. And one thing I campaigned on, and I said I was going to do this, I made sure that every deputy that's with Hampton County Sheriff's Office now carry a pouch on their vest. Because you all know we had a deputy that got exposed, and it was not a good thing to see. And I hope and pray I don't ever have to witness that again. Had we not had this, we probably would have been going to again. And with that being said, since that deputy was exposed to this, he's no longer working at Hampton County Sheriff's Office because he just can't do it. We have, I've given the opportunity to get counseling, support, everything you can think about doing. The sheriff's office has been doing that, and along with you all, but he's afraid and just don't want to come back into law enforcement. So these are the challenges that we're facing right now.
Is he doing fine?
Yes, sir. He's doing better. And thanks to the EMS, Chris Altman and Sergeant Tom Watson and Perry Gifford, we have the Leon program here now, and it only takes 2 hours, which is not that long. And you sit before a presentation, and you have a test after the presentation, and once you qualified and pass this test, then DHEC will send down these Narcan pouches, and we have to store them. And we got to have a policy in place, which I do at this current time. Now, I do have a policy in place to dispose of it and the use of it. Now, I want to go to the big event that we had on Friday. And I just want the citizens of Hampton County to understand one thing. Friday was a very busy day in Hampton County, South Carolina. Early that morning, we had a call where a car got shot up on 321 Success Road right outside of Belmont. We were working at scene. We worked at scene probably for 3 hours. Processed and got a shell case and we processed the vehicle. Well, 2 hours later, here come a call came out from the conductor of that train, a man on the track with a gun. I had just cleared that intersection. I made it to Lester Barbecue on 601, and that's when the call came out. So I got there within minutes. And after speaking with the conductor, the train apparently had stopped. They had no clue what was going on. All he said, hey, look, I saw a man with a gun. I don't know what's going on. Well, myself and Chief Deputy, we got there about the same time. I'm standing out talking to the conductor, and I see on the right side of the train, I see 3 people doing something to the train. So I asked the conductor, sir, do you have another locomotive down there? And he said, yeah, I think this train is 1.5 miles long. I said, do you have anybody else down there? He said, no. He said, I do have an engine, but I control it from the front. Took the binoculars, and you can clearly see these guys. They cut a hole in that train in broad daylight while that train was stopped. It was almost like his textbook style.
Was you right there?
Listen, the train was 1.5 miles long. I'm talking about a mile down the road.
Yeah.
So when I send deputies down there, give a foot chase, for some reason, in Hampton County, these criminals know other criminals, and they're going to do their best to mistake. I had the helicopter here, I think I had the helicopter here within, maybe 35 minutes. I called Jasper County because once again, y'all, unfortunately, officers short. So just kind of bear with me when you hear about these calls in the county. We're doing everything we can. I had to call Jasper County, I called Allendale, I called Yamasee, Elston, Gifford, Hampton, Bonneville, but still, that, 10 to 15 minutes out. You realize how fast a man can run on foot? Think about that now. You can chase him in
With 50 pounds of gear.
and cut tools. This is what we're facing. And I am trying my best, and I am trying hard to change everything that's going on in this community. But I cannot do it alone. And I want you all to know one thing. As the sheriff of the county, I promise you, I promised the citizens of this county that I was going to reduce the crime rate in this county. I was going to increase patrol, change the direction that the sheriff's office needed to go in. But when you're 14 people short, and if you go to the salary increase, no one is applying for these jobs. Just simple, okay? I changed my application process. I put it out online. It's simple. You scan the QR code. I try to make it as simple as possible. And we are not having people to apply for these positions. When you look at that salary sheet, they see the salaries, they're like, why go to Hampton County for that? So what I'm saying, the deputies that we have with us, we need to take care of the ones that we got. We're going to end up losing more than what we have lost in the past. And if you look down here, Hampton County is the lowest paying county for deputies in the state of South Carolina. That is very long. And I understand that everyone has an issue with money. I respect that. But you all have to respect me as the sheriff of the county. I have a job to uphold, and we have to protect the citizens of this county. I have lost 6 deputies to Jasper County just in the past 6 months. I'm not adding all the deputies that we've lost in the past. But when Jasper County can pay them what they're making, what you think is going to happen? We had a deputy graduate from the academy on Friday, came back and turned in her 2 weeks notice Friday afternoon and went to Jasper.
After we sent her to the academy?
After we sent her to the academy. Now, I remind you now that the general counsel for the academy has a bill in place where the sheriff of that county, or the police chief of that county can sit on a bill. We submitted the bill and they paid no problem because guess what? She was already trained. She was already certified.
Exactly.
Why not?
Yes, sir.
So I know you all are thinking about, hey, the sheriff is coming up here asking for money and I'm asking for money, but I promise y'all one thing. This is my first time before you. And I respect that you all will do the right thing to do in Hampton County. So our citizens in this county can be able to sleep, walk their dog, do whatever you want to do in your community. Because if we don't stop this, those numbers are going to increase. And the reason why I said I am going to bring this quarterly report to you all every quarter, because I want you to see the difference. If you all give me what I asked for, and I'm not asking for a lot, I promise you, those numbers will come down. And if they don't come down, then you can blame the sheriff himself. But you can't blame me when I am asking for help and I can't get it. These guys need help. I need a salary increase, a salary study of some sort, so we can pay these guys a decent salary for them to stay in Hampton County. I have the best group of guys and females in the state of South Carolina. I will put them up against any other sheriff in the state of South Carolina because I know what they will do. Every last one of them out there, I sat on that board when I hired them. I interviewed them personally. And every one of them have a care and they're concerned about the citizens of Hampton County. And they will go an extra mile to do whatever it takes to get the job done and be professional like we do. Now, yeah, we might get some complaints. We got some complaints Friday about deputy speeding, throughout the county, but listen, we had 3 armed men on the ground. So I just ask the citizen that if this is on live feed, if you see blue lights coming down the highway, by all means, please just try to move to the left or move to the right and get off the road. Because you have no idea what these guys are going up against. The drugs in this community and their weapons. The weapons that we're pulling off of these guys are bigger than the guns that we're carrying outside. And if you all haven't noticed, but if you look at the ATF recent releases about this 3D printer now that can make these mechanisms for the Glock to make it yellow. And believe it or not, it is here in Yankton County. I'm not just talking about a hunting rifle that you just go out and shoot a deer with. I'm not talking about a pistol that you take out here when you see a sniper. I'm talking about a mechanism that you put on that gun and it will make it fully auto. Shoot 30 rounds just in a matter of seconds. That's what we're facing. And if you look back at the study, I put the studies in there, and this is accurate information. Jasper County is paying $46,868.64. Allendale just got an increase. All right, we talking about Allendale County. How in the world Hampton County allow Allendale County to pass us with a salary of $41,000 a year? Colleton County is $45,000. I just had 3 deputies came to me 2 weeks ago and wanted to leave. And by all means, I talked them out of it. And you know how I was able to do that? Because I got confidence in you all that you all would help me to reach a common salary for these guys. I am not asking for no $100,000, $200,000. We got to do something more than what we give them right now. These guys and girls got a family too. And I understand that they took that job at the bare minimum, but things has changed over the years. The cost of living has almost tripled. If you don't think about it, just look at at your budget and see what we have been spending over the past couple of years. We can't even buy ammo at a low cost anymore. These are the things that we got to have. And right now, I currently have Deputy Mike Davis that we have been praying so hard for that was involved in an accident. And he's out of work. I don't know how long he's going to be out, but just keep him in the prayers too. I want to talk about the vehicles. Since I was in office, I had the opportunity to sit down and I had a meeting with Enterprise Leasing Company. And my reason for that, I wanted to compare to find out how much money the sheriff's office has been spending in repairs every year. And let me tell you one thing, and I know you all know the numbers better than I do, but it's a no-brainer. We are running vehicles out there with 300,000 miles. And all we're doing is buying engines and transmission. Fixing a frying and just so these guys will be able to get on the call. That is unacceptable. Number one, that is a safety issue. Not only for the sheriff's office, but as a county as a whole. Anything can happen to these vehicles while these guys are out here on the road. So please, by all means, think about purchasing the sheriff's office some new vehicles so we'll be able to get out here and do our job. You're looking at the sheriff right now, and I am driving. My truck has been in the shop for almost a month and a half. I can't tell you when it's going to be fixed because we can't find parts. I respect that. But my vehicle also has 300+ thousand miles. But I'm not here asking for a vehicle for me. I want to take care of the guys that's getting out here answering these calls in the daytime and at night so they can get to these calls. It is embarrassing to pass a deputy car side of the road, going on a call, and then we got to call Jimmy Butler to pull in. That is disturbing. I understand new vehicles gonna break down, but listen, I don't think any of us in here would keep a car on your fleet that's 300 miles, 300,000 miles or higher. Because you're gonna find out that you're gonna be spending more money than that vehicle is worth. Another point that I wanna address, if you all may, we have a lot of vehicles out there that's just sitting around. My sheriff truck looks like a junkyard. And I have been asking the previous administration since I came in day one, can I do a sale? I want to be the cleanup around there. Let's sell some of those vehicles, and by all means, whatever money that we make off of it, let's see about buying some new vehicles. Now, I must tell you now, you may not get a whole lot because if you go out there and you look at it, the mileage is high. Some of them you drive when you hit the brake, the seat slides all the way to the steering wheel. So, but what I'm saying is, when we buy new vehicles, the problem that I've seen in the past, when we purchase a new vehicle, we don't offline the old vehicle, that vehicle is replacing. So therefore, we got a new vehicle, and plus we still paying maintenance upkeep on the old vehicle. Let's get rid of those vehicles. If you all approve, if y'all say, hey, look, Sheriff, you can have a sale tomorrow, I promise you, we'll get together and we'll get it done. Because that'll be more room to sit and have a car. And all I can see is lovely cars when I come to work, the flat tire, won't crank, the one that cranks smokes. And I'm not saying this to try to make the county, feel like we're not doing anything or embarrassing the county, but as citizens of the county, the citizens deserve better than what they have been getting over the past couple of years. And I want to be able to give that to them. And I need you all support and help with this. And in conclusion, as the sheriff of Hampton County, I will concentrate on these areas presented to you today. I will work closely with the county council and the community to restore trust and increase the communication between law enforcement and the public. And that's what I'm doing here tonight. I'm not going to keep anything away from you all. You all have to respect some things I would not be able to bring to your attention until it's over. But I will do my best to inform you of everything that's going on in this county. It is my goal to protect all the citizens who live in this county and all the ones that are passing through this county. You know, last night before I left the office and I looked up the data, you realize last year we had 65,000 people that came into Hampton County on Interstate 95. Think about that. That's 65,000 on top of what we have here in the county. If we don't think about that, then we make decisions like that. But Hampton County, I-95 sits in Hampton County. And I plan to put 2 officers up there to work Interstate 95. But I can't even get the slots I got in Millfield. So it is necessary to increase police presence and maintain the operations that are currently set in place. I trust that our petition here tonight is strongly considered and that the urgent needs of Hampton County Sheriff's Office is met to cover the anticipated success that we hope that we all can have a common ground at the end of this session here. So I certainly thank y'all for everything that y'all have done for me. I'm doing everything in my power to make Hampton County a safer place to live. So if you all have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them for you at this time.
Sheriff Russell, what is involved with getting a sale going for the cars that are there? What do we need to do to?
My first week at the Sheriff Association, I met with the group It's called govdeal.com, and it's a government entity. That's what they do all over the state, all over the nation. They can come in and they can look at these cars and they can post them and probably have a sale within just a matter of weeks. But one thing I would like to do as a sheriff, I would like to make sure I take all the details. I don't want anything leaving that lot to make it look like a police car. We have to be concerned about that as well. I will strip the radios out of it if I gotta do it myself. That would not be no cost to anyone. I'll be able to take care of that myself. All I need to do is just get rid of those cars so we can get some new vehicles in this county and get these guys to patrol this area like they need to.
Would Gov Deals cover the cars you have in impound yard too? Or that's separate?
If they come out there and they'll do that, I promise you they can get those too.
On the spot auction?
Yes, sir. Because right now, I'm at a dilemma. We can't even house vehicles in the impound lot. We got no space here.
Do you have all the paperwork? You found the paperwork on those cars, been there 30 years?
Yeah, listen, anything over 10 years,
Some of them been there when I was there.
listen. But the problem is, we didn't have a sale, and we need to stop that. We gotta get rid of those vehicles.
Is there something that council needs to do to authorize that?
I think we have that on the agenda.
Is that on the agenda? Okay.
Yes, ma'am. It is item number 9.3.
Okay,
9.3.
okay.
Resolution, deposition of surplus.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
So if you want to think about it, then by all means, Heather, I thank her for the opportunity of working with you,
Thank you.
and just let me know. I'm open for suggestions. If we can do that, by all means, let's move on. If y'all want to start next week, we'll get it cleaned up and get lots of rolling.
I think that's a super quick, something that we can do. And if it can generate a revenue stream,
Yeah.
then
I
I
have no problem with it.
I have no issue with it.
When it comes to a need in any department, a need for any department in the county, a need for any department in the county, especially when it's a safety issue, you will never hear me grumble. Got an immediate yes. We have to find the money. We got to do it.
Ms. Heather.
Sheriff Russell, I would just say, because we're addressing the surplus matter tonight countywide, it might be good for us to get the other department heads that are in a similar situation as you all together. So when we reach out to Gov Deals, it's bigger bang for the buck. They can come and, work with, all of the different departments to do that. So,
And we won't have to pay to have a forklift come in and do those deals. I have a forklift. We gotta do the 1033 program. All we gotta do is put fuel in it. You get it cranked up, and I was just on it the other day with this car, so you don't have to work with paying somebody.
I have-
to come in and line the vehicle up.
I'll bring my equipment to help you move them and set them up if you need it. I'll volunteer to do that.
Sounds like a plan.
Any other questions?
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thanks.
No, I thank y'all for your time.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Moving down to item 8, appointments. There are no appointments. Item 9, resolutions and proclamations. 9.1, resolution authorizing Heather Simmons Jones as interim Hampton County Administrator. What is the pleasure of council?
So move.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second,
We have a motion and a second to approve item 9.1, resolution authorizing Heather Simmons Jones as interim Hampton County Administrator. All in favor, let it be known by raising your right hand. All opposed likewise, ayes have it. Moving down to item 9.2, resolution removing certain employees from bank account. State of South Carolina, County of Hampton, Resolution R 2023-0010, resolution amending signature authority for county accounts, whereas the County of Hampton holds funds in a series of accounts at financial institutions throughout South Carolina, and whereas recent turnover in key county leadership necessitates updates to signature authority on county accounts, now therefore be it resolved that the county council hereby directs that the following staff appointees shall be removed from all county accounts. Rose N. Dobson Elliott, and Chanel Lewis. Be it further resolved that the county council hereby directs that the council chairman, Noah Alexander, be added as an authorized signature to all county accounts. Resolved this third day of April 2023. Attested Eileen Newton, clerk to council, and Noah O. Alexander, chair. What is the pleasure of council for resolution R 2023-0010?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept resolution R 2023-0010.
We have a motion to accept. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor of approving resolution R 2023-0010? Okay, 010,
Is that what it is? 010?
010. All in favor of passing resolution R 2023-010? Raise your right hand. All opposed, likewise, ayes have it. Moving down to 9.3, resolution for disposition of surplus equipment. State of South Carolina, County of Hampton, resolution declaring county-owned equipment surplus and to authorize the interim county administrator to its sale or disposition in accordance with South Carolina state law. Whereas the interim county administrator, in consultation with department directors of Hampton County, has identified a variety of general equipment that is damaged or outdated. And whereas the county administrator, in consultation with department directors of Hampton County, has deemed a variety of general equipment that has either surpassed its usefulness, it's irreparable due to cost constraints or availability of replacement parts, or the technology associated with the equipment is outdated and is not compatible with new systems or procedures. And whereas equipment such as vehicles, computers, and radios are no longer operable or compliant with state of South Carolina requirements and must be replaced to ensure the health, safety, and well-being of Hampton County residents. And whereas the county administrator and department directors will ensure appropriate disposition of all equipment such as clearing hard drives, removing decals, and removing all identifying markers and information relating to Hampton County. And whereas the equipment declared surplus has monetary value and will contribute to the purchasing of replacement equipment compliant with state of South Carolina requirements. And whereas the Hampton County Council hereby authorize the county administrator to coordinate with department directors to declare certain equipment surplus. Now therefore, be it resolved that the equipment that fits within the aforementioned descriptions as determined by the county administrator and applicable department director shall be declared surplus pursuant to the Hampton County Purchasing and Procurement Ordinance. And the chief procurement officer of the county is authorized and directed to sell or otherwise dispose of the equipment in accordance with that ordinance. The resolution made this third day of April 2023, attested Eileen Newton, clerk to council, and signed Noah O. Alexander, will be signed Noah O. Alexander, chairperson. All in favor of, I need a motion. Do we have a motion to accept this resolution?
I make the motion with the understanding that each surplus item the money from each surplus item goes back to the department that sold it.
Okay.
Fire truck goes back to the fire department. Patrol car goes back to the sheriff's office.
Okay.
Agreed?
That's a county policy issue. I mean, we've seen a similar situation where when some of the department heads have turned in their incident claims and they've gotten a reimbursement check for insurance, that money was not put back into an account where it would be there for the purpose of buying a new vehicle at a later point. It was put into the general fund. So I think both of those are issues that council has to make it a determining factor as to how the monies that come back off of vehicles that are no longer in possession, how that is handled.
Okay. Well, we have a motion on the table. Is there a second on that motion, or do you want to make an amendment to that motion?
I don't know how
No,
can I
'cause
make
this
an
will be in
amendment if,
perpetuity.
what I'm understanding, if the car was in an accident, we still have the car, insurance paid it off, that money goes to general funds.
Well, it
Would be.
did.
That's
wasn't
how
it?
it's been handled.
Yeah.
I still don't think that
Yeah.
money should go to general funds.
Right.
Whatever surplus is sold goes back to the department that.
Okay.
accrued
Can we
to
have,
get.
we have Chris Altman who would like to say something, our EMS director?
Those fire companies, a special tax district. Any asset sold out of that special tax district, those funds would automatically go back to the fire department. In the past, when we sold EMS equipment or any other type of equipment, we don't get a whole lot for it. But, for example, we sold an ambulance, I think it brought $800, and it come with a tow truck and haul it off. Those funds typically go back into the general fund, and council will do the discretionary spending in the general fund, and appropriate those funds however you like. So I'm not sure that you need to do a
Make an-
special motion on it.
Right.
Fire district is fire district, if you sell an engine, that money goes back to the special tax district. The rest of it all comes out of the general fund, and you can earmark it through the administration. For example, if Sheriff Russell gets $3,000 for these patrol cars, you know, you can make sure that Sheriff Russell can come in and say, hey, I need $3,000 above my budget for this, and administration make sure it goes that way.
Thank you.
With that being said, I could make the motion that we accept that.
Okay. We have a motion to accept Resolution R 2023-011 as it is stated with the correction. Oh,
Sec-
it says March on here.
April
Okay.
2023.
Okay. And
A second.
we have a second. All in favor, let it be known by raising your right hand. All opposed likewise, ayes have it. Moving down to item 10, ordinances. 10.1, third reading of ordinances. There are no third readings. 10.2, second reading of ordinances. There are no second readings. 10.3, first reading of ordinances. There are no first readings. Moving down to item 11, bids. There are no bids scheduled. Moving down to item 12, council briefings. 12.1, chairman's update. I did want to make a mention that we have with us today Britton from MRB. And so with our contract, we have the ability to add on existing services that they provide. And so what Britton has done, and I'll give him the floor in a minute, he is a head engineer for MRB. And so he has been consulting with us on airport matters, on recreation matters, and so on and so forth. And so I just wanted to make it be known and give him an opportunity to speak if he wanted to. Sure. If you just want to give a general hello.
Thank you for that introduction. As Mr. Alexander said, I'm with MRB Group, I work with Heather Jennings. She brought me in on this project with respect to engineering related. I started to evaluate a little bit. The airport, obviously, we got some obstruction issues out there, so I started to kind of investigate that. It's obviously a priority. That's a safety issue out there. She also mentioned the recreational center, which is an important part of the project for the county. I'd like to continue with those services, obviously with your permission. So I'd like to formally request that I'm allowed to continue my services under our original contract.
Yeah. And I think we kind of came to an agreement, and I'll make a mention of, well, we mentioned it in our retreat earlier, that there would be a threshold of, if it hits that threshold, then we need to come back for discussion, an up to amount. So, yeah.
Absolutely. So we're just asking for 10,000 to begin this process, and certainly it's at your discretion for the hours and we won't exceed that without your permission.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving down now to item 12.2, council members, liaison reports, or updates.
We are going to do a Earth Day event. It's April 22nd at 8 a.m. We are going to be cleaning up the Varnville Walking Trail. We need all the volunteers that we can get. I'm going to reach out to the schools, the ROTC, the beta clubs, any of the kids that need community service. This is the trail that is behind it's at the recreation center. It's the park, it's the playground, and the walking trail is behind that. It has fallen into disrepair in the last several years, and there was a conflict as to whose responsibility it was, and we have determined that it is the county's responsibility. So on April 22nd, we are going to start at 8 a.m. Would love to see all of you out there. Many hands make light work. This is for our kids and for us to be able to enjoy in our community, and I'll have a flyer too, but I just ask y'all to keep that on your calendar, and if you can attend, please attend.
Thank you. Anything else? No. Okay. Moving down to item 12.3, County Attorney's Update. Thank you. Moving down to item 12.4, Clerk Update.
Was that the day that we were doing the,
Prayer? No.
is the 22nd on a, we're doing it on a
Doing what?
Saturday. Are we doing
I
Government
think
Day
it's
on
Saturday.
We are doing it on a Saturday. Okay, scratch that. I'll have to find another day.
What are we doing?
County Government Day.
I
Yeah,
thought it
County
was during
Government
the
Day,
week. I didn't
What are we
realize it
doing
was on
that
a
day?
Saturday. Okay.
22nd of April.
Yeah,
All right,
what
we'll
are we
drop back
doing?
and punt. We'll get another
Doing
day.
something special?
Here. Where are we doing that at? The Government Day? On the grounds?
Okay, that's on Saturday. Okay.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. Moving down now to item 12.5, Hampton County Speculative Agreement, Richard Blackwell, Agricel, and John Fleming, SCA.
Good evening, council, chairman, members of council, administrator. I'm John Fleming, Southern Carolina Alliance, and I'm excited to be here with Richard Blackwell and to enjoy a good presentation. As many of y'all know, we've been talking about another spec building for quite a while in Hampton County. Budgets have created an issue with that, and worked out with the developer to come into Hampton County and help us solve that problem. It's another building. Y'all may recall the Newfie building was a spec building. That's spec building number 1 in the park. Newfie has expanded that building. It is now double the size the county built. And now we're going directly across the street to build spec building number 2. And we're going to let you talk about it and basically about Agricel and how they've teamed with Hampton County, SCA, and the Department of Commerce to be able to bring this project to reality.
Thanks, John. Mr. Chairman, members of council, it's a pleasure to be before you. Also, thank you to the citizens behind me. Allow me to start, as your name is Richard Blackwell. I believe in this county. I believe in jobs. I believe that jobs change family trees. I'm a product of that, and it's the core belief of my company, our company, Agricel. I'm going to walk through just a few slides of what we're planning to do here in Hampton County in partnership with you all, the state of South Carolina and Southern Carolina Regional Alliance. John and Danny and the entire team do a phenomenal job. You may have seen we recently put a spec building in Allendale, South Carolina, just roughly 20 minutes up the road. Pretty much the same type development agreement is before you and your consideration. But again, I'll walk through just kind of who we are. You're probably like, who is this guy in the bow tie? So with that, we'll go to the next slide. Agricel is a industrial real estate developer. We've been in business for about 36 years. My office is in Greenville, South Carolina. Headquarters is in Effingham, Illinois. If you know Effingham, you're one step ahead of most people, including my parents. But it is corn country. It's about 3.5 hours south of Chicago. And from there, we grew our agribusiness roots into working with manufacturers in roughly 22 states, doing about 22 million square feet over the last 36 years. We are a long-term holder. We're not what we call a merchant developer, where we come in, make promises on a Monday, and then I leave on a Tuesday, and you're like, where did that guy in the bow tie go? As you heard, we've done 1. This will hopefully be number 2, and hopefully that leads to number 3, number 4, number 5, until the entire park is pretty much full of jobs and industry and taxable investment for a really good day in Hampton County. Go to the next slide. Something about gray suits. I don't know what it is, but you see us, we are in gray suits. Again, I'm Richard Blackwell, easy to recognize there with the bow tie. My background is in economic development before I went to the dark side and was private industry. I worked as an economic developer for about 15 years. So I know the importance of having products. I know the importance of good engineering. You definitely have that in the team that spoke before me. It is crucial. You guys are doing the right things. And we want to be part of that team in bringing about, again, jobs and capital investment. Next slide. I've kind of touched on this. Again, we're not your average developer that you may see up and down the interstate. That is not who we are. Our focus is in secondary, tertiary markets, which is a fancy way of saying rural. But here in South Carolina, we've done about 3 million square feet for companies that you know, like a Michelin, like a Krispy Kreme, Hershey Chocolate, but also companies you never heard of, but I guarantee you, you have used them. My favorite example of that is in Lawrence County. About 18 months ago, we worked with a company called Setter Sticks. If you've ever had a Tootsie Pop, Lollipop, Dum Dum, basically a sucker, that paper stick is what they make. They make about 70% of the world's paper sticks for suckers. We help to bring them from Buffalo, New York to South Carolina. Now, for one example and one testament to our success, I think, again, we're on the cusp of success here in Hampton County. We are very streamlined, very easy to work with. I'm your guy. Again, this will not be the first time you see me. Hopefully, it is many times that we continue to have good conversations and quickly sell that building or lease that building. Next slide. The reason that a building is important and our strategy has kind of shifted. Been in business for 36 years. If we talked about 5 years ago, we weren't really ones to have the appetite for a spec building type development. We left that to the bigger national developers. But as you can kind of see in that chart, buildings are old. The average building is about 20 years old all across the nation. A lot of this new product is being leased up or sold very, very quickly because modern manufacturing wants that new space to have the right ceiling heights, the right functionality for their purposes and their processes. So in the last few years, we've kind of shifted our strategy to put spec buildings in rural communities that we believe in. Hence, I'm standing before you today. Next slide. Talking about the spec building, again, hopefully you can kind of see that drawing there. That is the engineered drawing right across from NUPE. In the next slide, you will see the plot of land that I'm talking about. That stack of timber there, pine trees. Again, you can kind of see the sign with NUPE there directly across the street. As you're coming in the entrance, it's on the left-hand side of the Southern Carolina Industrial Park. It is rail spurred that you'll see in a moment, but what we're thinking about is a 50,000 square foot building expandable to 150,000 square feet. It will be what we call Class A, meaning it will be precast. It will have functionality for modern manufacturing as far as the clear height, and just the readiness that it will present. It'll be spec in nature. Still trying to decide if we do a floor or no slab, but we're looking to kick off construction within the next 6 months, if you all will allow. Generally, we can start soon. Let's call it the summertime. We'll have that building up and ready for a tenant pretty much by this time next year, Q2 of 2024. Again, our goal is to lease it or sell it as quickly as possible. Sure that is your goal if you decide to move forward, is to get a tenant as quickly as possible. And again, this is a partnership. This isn't the guy in the bow tie saying this is what you got to have. This will be us sitting down and figuring out what is needed for the community. I think it's 50,000 square feet expandable to 150,000 square feet just based on the market, based on the trends. You may have some different ideas, and we would love to hear them. We're certainly amenable and open to various features that you may want to see in this building. Maybe there's a particular color that you want to see. Your friends in Allendale wanted a Cabernet color on their building. That's fine. It's just a bucket of paint. So again, this is your building as it is our building. Along with that, you get a say in who that tenant is. Again, we're not going to go out and put somebody in this building or sell this building without your permission. We want quality jobs here. We want a quality tenant that's going to provide quality jobs. So again, I stress that this is a partnership with Hampton County, with Southern Carolina, and with the state of South Carolina. Next slide. I referenced it is a rail-served industrial spec building, which is a very nice feature. I probably can count on one hand how many rail-served industrial spec buildings there are, or the potential of, in the state of South Carolina. So just by you all moving forward and saying yes, hopefully soon, again, that is a feather in your cap with the vision of this industrial park you all had with Southern Carolina. That is a unique feature that we're excited about. It has been vetted by CSX, the rail provider, so I'm not just sitting up here saying, yeah, I think it can. We know it can be rail served if that is what the tenant wants, the end user wants. Next slide. So where are we today? In the next slide, you'll see that we have finished, well, kind of inherited a design that the Southern Carolina Regional Development Group put together with Stewart Architecture. And then we've also done the site engineering, and again, inherited that, what Hudson Gay Bell has done. There's some tweaks that we need to do. Obviously, you all need to weigh in and see it as well, because again, it's talk about a partnership. We're not going to come in and ram this, down your throat if this is not what you want. It is a partnership. So we definitely need to finish up the design. I think that's relatively easy. You have a development agreement before you all that you have seen. You're continuing to chew on that, and we look forward to the feedback that you'll have. And then, as I mentioned, let's finalize it. Let's procure vertical construction, which will be a bid process. We are just a developer, so we will procure it, go through your bidding formats that you all need to see happen. We are happy to do that. We're happy, again, we hope somebody local gets all the services that this building is going to need, from cutting the grass to future plumbing needs, to maybe there's a GC in this room that can build this building. But again, those are the kind of the areas that we are currently in. On the next slide, you will see that it is our goal to, again, finalize that development agreement, firm up the plans, commence marketing efforts. Always the goal is to sell it or get a tenant before we're even finished with construction. So to get out in front of it, tell the world that this building is ready here in Hampton County. You've seen some successes around you. We feel very strongly that success can come here, being in close proximity both to the Port of Savannah, the Port of Charleston, the I-95 corridor. Hyundai is roughly an hour up the street in southern Georgia. You've seen the recent announcement with Scout Motors in southern Richland County. So activity is here. It's in your backyard. We just need to make sure it's within your borders, and that's what we're focused on. We want to get that shovel in the ground, and we want to secure that tenant as quickly as possible. With that, I'll be quiet, and I'll answer any questions you may have. I will leave a little piece of propaganda for your bedtime reading. But I will entertain any questions you have. And also, John Fleming is here to be put on the spot, too.
Any questions? I have two comments.
Okay.
So, speculative building in Hampton County was Newpie, which is now Newpie. Newpie's purchased it. And now they employ many Hamptonians. They have expanded twice, I think. That's fine, but they've grown. And I want to make and I want to make a note too that with this project, Hampton County has no financial stake in it.
That is very true.
Yep.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Yep.
So the county attorney and I have gone through the document. We did express some concerns about a particular item in 2.2, operating expenses and carrying costs, as well as 2.5, buy down. And today, I am in receipt of a letter. I reached out to Commerce last week around that point, and had some discussions. And today I received a letter from Secretary Lightsey confirming that the Department of Commerce is committed to providing the necessary funding to meet Hampton County's obligations under the development agreement with Agricel. So for that, the Department of Commerce, after year 5, when Hampton County would be on the hook for those, has agreed to pick up those costs,
Is there an amount?
whatever the amount is.
They're gonna pick up the cost.
Yes, sir. So Agricel carries it years 1 through 5, right? And then after year 5, Commerce will pick that up. But they're going to be successful in getting rid of it before then,
they
so
will.
it'll be a moot point.
We will be successful.
That's right. No complaints out of me. I'm excited.
Me too.
Approve.
Um,
Well, again, thank y'all very much.
thank you.
Thank you.
And
And I like bow ties. I'm just saying. Okay.
Let me leave you with this. That's
Thank you.
I don't know about the propaganda now, Richard.
Thank you.
thank you.
I think it was the bow tie that sold us, huh?
Paying homage to our late councilman. Well, not late, he's not past, but our
Buddy.
past chairman.
Buddy,
So I'll call for a motion to approve that Heather move forward with whatever is necessary to get this agreement passed and moving.
so move.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to approve that we continue on with this. All in favor, let it be known by raising your right hand. All opposed, I didn't think anybody would. Ayes have it. Thank you. Moving down to 12.6, on-call engineering services. I hit that already, but if you want to speak again.
Constructions, things going on out there. There's also the rec center and, kind of getting up to speed on that project as far as the status of it and ways to move forward. So,
Thank you.
I think that, the YMCA had an approval from the previous council to do a study. Where are we with that study?
So in the documents that I've been cleaning out of the office, I did find an executed document between Alliance Consulting Engineers and the county from, I think, 2019, that called for a master plan for recreation. Britton today found a document. Feel free.
I found a document, so it looks like that part of the project is complete, honestly, so it's a matter of, like, to go through the document and see what, the master plan, to show all the status.
Okay.
We're not sure that the document actually identifies particular sites. It was, or at least it appears to be more of a public engagement process to allow the citizenry, because there were 4 different meetings around the county, and it kind of inventoried what the needs and wants of the communities
That's what
were.
it was supposed to be, a needs assessment.
Yes, sir.
Can you get me a copy?
Yep. Since he just found it today, I actually had called the engineering firm this weekend and asked if I could get a copy from them. But now that we've got it, I still want it electronically though, because it would be better.
Okay.
Okay. Moving down to item 12.7, building department recommendations.
Yes, sir. That actually was planning, and we were able to meet with Mr. Cruz today. I had hoped that we would have had an opportunity to meet with him before today. I was just going to simply mention some of the documents that are in need of being updated. When we talked today, as Mr. Cruz said, it's really just a matter of getting the funds in there to do it. But considering the fact that we got new information today, I'd like to table that for the next meeting.
Sure. 12.8, consideration of appointing interims for the Office of Aging and the Assessor's Office.
Yes, sir. We have 2 vacancies that we need to address. The first one became vacant last Friday. That was the assessor, and we would recommend that Amanda Nettles be appointed as the interim for that role until such time as we can replace the assessor formally and permanently. And then the Office on Aging Director will be leaving in 3 days. And we would recommend that you appoint Ann Lurch as the interim until such time as we can fill that vacancy. For both of these, they will be publicly, they actually already are on our website, and then we will also be getting them cross-posted to scjobs.gov and some other sites. And for the same report that I gave to you during the planning session, there is no compensatory changes, so there's no financial implications for these folks being appointed as interims.
What is the pleasure of council?
I so move we appoint both candidates to each department, each of their departments.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to appoint the aforementioned people to their respective positions. All in favor, let it be known by raising your right hand. All opposed, likewise, ayes have it. Moving down to 12.9, discussion and consideration of the use of ARPA funds for ambulance purchase.
So, as you all are aware, it was brought to our attention, 2 weeks ago now? I think Thursday, 2 weeks ago, that Mr. Altman had been able to identify, along with Mr. Lawson, a demo ambulance that was available. I explained to each of you as council members that there is a 3-year delay, that there's about a $30,000 increase each year that we don't have one in terms of the cost. I think that Mr. Altman and Mr. Lawson did a great thing for the county by identifying a demo. I didn't even really ever think about going and getting a demo. But as you all will remember, we had a very short timeline to do a letter of intent to purchase. And given the fact that was our first week here, we did not feel that we had a good enough understanding of the finances to make a recommendation for $401,000. One of the thoughts was that we could potentially use ARPA funds to pay for that. And when we put this on the agenda, we felt like we had a pretty good understanding of what that account looked like. As you council will recall in our planning meeting today, we did backtrack a little bit because of some potential additional funds that need to be paid out of ARPA that were paid out of the general fund but approved as projects by council. So given that, I think an appropriate action might be that once we have the full understanding of the disbursements from Treasury to Hampton, as well as all expenses that are out of the ARPA fund, once we have that, what I might suggest is that you give preliminary approval pending the dispensation and account balance in the ARPA funds.
Can I ask Chris some questions, if he'll answer them? So when is that truck set to be ready if we gave a letter of intent?
So, while it's being called a demo, the truck is still under construction. The truck will be ready towards the end of May. It will go to North Carolina to a show, and if we do the letter of intent immediately after that show in June, it will be available to us.
So June. And is there any opportunity for financing of some sort with this? Do we know?
So typically, these type of manufacturers, we do the outside financing. On the last truck we financed, which we Kansas State Bank, because we put it out for RFP, and that's where we got the very best interest rate that we could. With this truck to lock us in, we just get a letter of intent, then that allows us to work with the administration, whether we're going to use FERPA funds or whether we're going to put it out to finance over 4 or 5 years, or whatever route we're going to take. But this will lock the truck in for us. They've been very gracious. We've got until, there were so many emails over the weekend, I believe it's 5 o'clock tomorrow to get them an answer. Does that sound right? It's 5 o'clock tomorrow.
I think so.
Kept changing.
Yeah.
They've got
above that purchase price, Thursday, I think, of last week.
Right.
But because of our relationship with them and us working with them, they're holding that truck for us until we can get it from them.
Okay, last question. Is there any penalty if we sign or give a letter of intent, but then we don't follow through?
No, I wouldn't see any penalty. There's no contract here or anything like that. You know, it's just a letter of intent.
Okay, good.
We intend to go forward.
Just want to make
So
sure.
there shouldn't be any
Good.
penalties that anything I'm aware of.
I just need to be clear with you.
Yes, sir.
You see this feasible?
We don't know.
Well, I'm not going to give you 100% until we get that reconciled in that account, which is,
It's probable.
I think it's
Possible.
highly possible that we could have the money in there to handle this. Which is why I said preliminarily, if we could do the letter of intent,
Right.
that would then allow us to work together to figure out a plan B of financing in case ARPA doesn't work.
And this is to replace that. We went through the budget process last year, and as Ms. Jones said, if we pass on this one and we decide to go with another one, we're looking at 2 to 3 years to take possession, which we'll be taking possession in October of the one that we did with the Community Block Development Grant. You know, that may be an option out there for us too, but there's a lot of legwork trying to find that. You know, there's nothing that says we can't reverse course if we put it out to finance or whatever. And then we identify some funding source later on that we can't use it to get out from under those notes and stuff. And it's just a matter of availability of these units because the chips and everything else has slowed us down. We are down to just 3 units. We lost our unit with a $500,000. I got the sheriff on that. And then we rolled over one. And today we actually, over the weekend, we struck a turkey and took a windshield out in the town limit. So right now we're sitting here without a backup. We're down to basically 3 running units out of 3 to 6.
What's the cost increase if we miss this one?
So based on the manufacturers, we can figure the ambulance, the federal DOT regulations for what an ambulance is, it's changed. And they're changing their vehicles too, by the way, so the price, but about $30,000 a year, rough estimate.
Okay.
And when you say this 401, that's ready to go. That's $140,000 stretcher that requires 10 ambulance because our older stretchers don't meet the requirements. So it's a truck stretcher ready to go.
Okay. Well, I'm guessing we need to make a motion to do a letter of intent.
Mr. Chair, I make the motion, we do a letter of intent to purchase this ambulance.
Okay.
A second.
We have a motion and a second to proceed with a letter of intent for the purchase of this ambulance. Okay.
Now you pushing.
Right.
Yeah, I would ask, Mr. Chair, if you would just, for the record,
Mhm.
that you potentially accept a motion authorizing me to enter into that letter of agreement and also to work with Mr. Altman and Ms. Harrell on coming up with multiple options for paying for it. So ARPA as well as allowing us to seek potential financing options.
Okay. We have one motion on the table to approve the letter of intent, and we had a second. So we have to go to a vote on that. All in favor of that motion, raise your hands. All opposed, likewise, ayes have it. Now, can we get a motion?
I make a motion to approve Ms. Heather to work with Mr. Altman with financing of the purchase as well as moving on the letter of intent to purchase.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. You heard the motion. All in favor, let it be known by raising your right hand. All opposed, likewise, ayes have it. Moving down to item 13, reports to council, 13.1, administrators report, 13.1.1, financial update. Ms. Melissa Harrell, Chief Financial Officer.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, I would actually like to have Melissa come up first and give council, similarly to our planning session today, but for the purpose of the public as well, to just offer an update on the position of the finances. And then I'll have a couple comments after that. Thank you.
Very much. Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity. As I said earlier, today, I'll just give you a quick rundown of kind of what's been going on fast and furiously upstairs with the folks. And if the next time you see one of the four ladies upstairs, you give them a high five because they have really pitched in and done a yeoman's job of all that Heather and I have been throwing around. So hats off to them. First of all, we have put on a hiring freeze. We put on a spending freeze outside of emergencies. To be very clear, but we're not going to have anybody without copy paper or toner or those kinds of things. And we're going to have oxygen on the ambulances, those kinds of things. But what we also are doing in the process, we have created a policy around hiring, and this will be formalized with through the handbook, employee manual, and some other things that will be coming to you. But in the process, we want to centralize hiring and allow to make sure that every new hire gets a letter with everything outlined and anything that might be specific to that hire, to document all of those decisions and all those agreements to protect both the employee and the employer. And we want to make sure that the drug testing and the background checks are done in a timely manner before those folks come in-house. And to work towards an onboarding standardization so that everybody understands the IT policy, everybody understands the employee manual, how to do a leave slip, those kinds of things. We are working towards a credit card policy. We are going to be doing all sorts of kind of centralizing and standardizing how things are reported until we can figure out the best ways and tweak it from there. The last one I will mention is the incident reporting that's already gone out to department heads. We are asking that all incidents be reported to the finance department within 48 hours so that all the claims and all the appropriate folks, including potential legal counsel, be informed, and we do everything to protect both the county and the employee that might be involved. Been working with the treasurer's office and working towards how we can work together more closely and some reporting issues and see how we can streamline some of the current processes. So stay tuned on that. And we will be helping out with the treasurer's office to make sure to get all of the receivables up to date and posted into the general ledger in a timely manner, which will only help expedite some of the things that you have asked and required. Along with that incident report, that kind of goes hand in hand, is we are working towards a county-wide vehicle inventory, and this will also help the sheriff because we're going to, by the way, we have lots of titles in here, so if you need something and you're missing it, come see us. We would like to have a copy of all titles that the county owns, if not the original, if certain departments have a policy of keeping them there. We're not going to monkey with that, but we do need a copy of all that. We want the odometer reading of every vehicle. We want the year of the make and model and what department has that vehicle. We're not trying to be Big Brother. What we're trying to do is this is the first step towards a capital plan, a 5 and 10-year plan on how you do those that equipment, those vehicles and the replacement, and potentially the enterprise leasing program. All of that has to start with an inventory. So please know that that's coming, and department heads will be asked to help get that information. Audit for 22 is one of my top priorities, and the auditor has sent a list that is 3 pages long, single-spaced, typed of homework for the finance department, and we are working through that and hope to get that going quickly. The budget calendar, we will have something for you to look at this week, and we'll formally approve that in 2 weeks. And I know we're getting down to the wire, but Ms. Jones and I and others, until we feel like we have a good handle on where we are this minute financially, we're not ready to take to that next step. We do have a significant amount of bills and invoices that are sitting ready to be, or wanting to be paid, and we're having to prioritize those for the moment until we have everything in good order and we feel like we could write those checks with comfort. If I left anything on.
I don't think so.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And just to kind of follow up on what Melissa said, while she's been working on the financial assessment and the audit and trying to get her arms around expenses and income and revenues, I've been trying to get around and meet with several different departments each day. It has not gone as quickly as I would like because there's also the day-to-day running of the county. But we are starting to put together a list of action items that will be required by council as we meet with each department. That will come out, as I discussed at the last council meeting, that will come out as a report at the end. But there are some items that if we waited until the report was done, would apply more liability and exposure to the county. So we are trying to prioritize those landmines and get those off the to-do list first, and then we will continue to work through the rest of the departments and complete the assessment. We're also working on policies and procedures. Ms. Peoples has sent a lot of the work that they had done as the employee group previously, and the up-to-date policies that council approved a few years back. Then we have also had several departments also provide for us more of a SOP, if you will. So we're trying to look at SOPs for departments as well as the actual policies and procedures manual of the county. And we will be bringing those back probably in small chunks because nobody wants to read an entire policy manual at one time and try to vote on it. So as Melissa comes up with, say, a credit card policy, and I come up with a nepotism policy, whatever, we're going to start getting those to you so it's more manageable. And then when we get to the end, we can kind of codify it as one document. We're also looking at job descriptions, at a comp study, and then the other things that have been really important for us to focus our first 6 days on are getting our arms around the lawsuits so we can understand what exposure the county has on that, trying to get loans, bonds, anything that, again, has a payment that needs to go out so we can have an amortization schedule to, again, forecast what that looks like for the coming years. Contracts, making certain that if there's an automatic renewal on something, that department or division head thinks that should be renewed and that we don't get caught in another year with something that hasn't been a value add for the county. And then just generally those kinds of things so that they're all in one place. And when someone asks us, we can go and say, yes, here's the contract. Yes, here's the lawsuit. Yes, here's that vendor. And so those are kinds of the low-hanging fruit that we've been trying to get to in the first couple of days.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay. Thank you. Moving down to item 14, executive session. 14.1, personnel matter regarding employee disciplinary action. 14.2, personnel matter regarding resignations. 14.3, consideration of a contractual agreement between Hampton County and the Friends of the Arts. 14.4, legal advice regarding a pending lawsuit, and 14.5, contractual matters at the Hampton County Airport. Can I get a motion to
Move.
go into executive session? We have a motion to enter executive session. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to enter into executive session. All in favor, let it be known by raising your right hand. All opposed likewise, ayes have it. We consider ourselves into executive session. If you will excuse us, please.
Mr. Kevin.